Okay, so today we're going to be talking about something called boot camp. We'll start off with this. What is boot camp? Well, boot camp is basically, let's just check on Wikipedia. Boot camp is an assistant boot utility that offers help with using Windows on a Mac. Okay, so you may be thinking, what the hell is Windows doing on a Mac? Well, a few years ago, Apple created this boot camp utility where people can actually use Windows on a Mac for many different reasons. I'm not going into that. Why do people even use Windows on a Mac? Well, there's lots of different reasons. So today we're going to be learning about how to install Windows using boot camp. I'm using this website called it.Boot, support.apple.com for boot camp assistance. So you're getting all your top grade information from here. You're not getting anything from a third party. So please don't distrust this website. Okay, so how to install Windows using boot camp. Boot camp helps you install Microsoft Windows on your Mac. After installing, restart your Mac to switch between OS X and Windows. Before you begin, make sure you have everything you need. An Intel-based Mac, a Microsoft Windows installation media or disk image, or ISO, containing a 64-bit version of Microsoft Windows 8 or later. Okay, let's find out the first option. What is an Intel-based Mac? An Intel-based Mac is a Mac that has an Intel Core processor inside. Examples of Intel processors include the Intel i3, i5, i7, and Xeon E5 core. Next up, a Microsoft Windows installation media or disk image. Or ISO.
Very easily.
So, a Microsoft Windows installation media or disk image or ISO containing a 64-bit, this is very important, 64-bit version of Microsoft Windows 8 or later. Why 8 or later? Because it's not supported anymore. So first of all, let's see how you can download this disk image or ISO. So here I am in Microsoft's official store, and I'm downloading a Windows 10 disk image ISO file. Well, I still didn't answer, what is an ISO file? So an ISO file is basically a copy of an operating system. There's two ways of downloading Windows 10. One is using a disk, like a VLC or DVD, or you can just download an ISO file using a 16 gigabyte or larger USB flash drive. That is extremely important because since you don't have a CD or a DVD, at least you can download it at all. Okay, so here we can select the edition we want. Let's see. Most people just like Windows 10, the regular one. So I click confirm. Validating. This may take several minutes, but usually doesn't. So I click Windows 10. Now, basically this matters on your language. So I think 99% of you actually understand English since you're reading this in English. Let's click confirm. Again. Okay, going back to the 64-bit thing. So you see 32-bit and 64-bit. Again, do not download 32-bit. It will take up a lot of space on your computer, and it will still be pretty much useless. Let's do the 64-bit download. Downloading usually takes a really long time. It can take up to 1 hour or even more. The flash drive I have here is basically a flash drive that has memory, so I have not exactly downloaded Windows yet, but I still know a lot, so stay with me. The thing is with Windows that you need a lot of RAM. What is RAM? If you don't know, RAM is basically the amount of random access memory you have in your computer. Why is this called random access memory? Because your computer, when it uses RAM, the more RAM it has, the more gigabytes of RAM it has, then the faster it would load pages and more. For example, this Mac here, this iMac from 2013, this has 8 gigabytes of RAM on it. So I can go really fast. So if I just disable this here, disable it, it loads really fast. Thing is with RAM, you can actually load so many things at once that it doesn't even slow down. So if I open like 20 tabs at once, it won't slow down since I have 8 gigabytes of RAM. Even some gaming computers have even 16 gigabytes of RAM, which is impossible. I mean, not exactly impossible, but it's still amazing. That's what they call gaming computers. They have really fast processors. So about the RAM. When you install Windows, you also have to create a partition disk for your RAM, and you have to split your RAM in half. If I decided to, okay, let me just split this RAM in half that I have, I'm going to split 4 for Windows and 4 for Mac. Well, what that would do is that it actually slow down your computer by a reasonable amount, since you're actually cutting what you have in half and putting it for another thing you have. Okay, so number 2, get a Windows disk image, which we already got. Let me just open that. Show you Windows 10 downloads. Chrome downloads. Chrome downloads. So the last one, since Windows 10 was taking too long, it was stopped by the network. Anyway, we can still go on. So since we used to have the disk image, you can put it onto your USB flash drive, and then you can connect it to your iMac from the back using the USB 3.0 opening. What should I say? Port. Open the Boot Camp Assistant. The app I showed you before, Boot Camp Assistant, what it does is that it basically helps you install Windows on the Mac. So when you open it, you'll actually see something like this. Just open this on a new page. Expand it. This is a Windows 7. Since we're doing Windows 10, we can actually create a Windows 7 install disk, which we already did. Then we can download the latest Windows support software and install Windows 7. Okay, so now we format the Windows partition disk. The Boot Camp logo basically sports 2 drives, not one, because you're splitting the Mac into two parts. So basically, you split one part of your memory and your storage for the Mac, and the other for the Windows. When you do boot the Mac into Windows, you click the Boot Camp partition, and then you click Format. So then, when you format that, it turns into it continues with its operation. If you do not click the Boot Camp partition, your memory and data on your computer will be completely erased. That's why I recommend to have an extra USB flash drive with you and back up your drive using Apple Time Machine, which is a time machine made by Apple, so people can actually use Boot Camp safely without having to how should I say this? Without Hello, today we will be talking about the second part of using Boot Camp for your computer. The last video got cut because of the 10-minute limit. So today, where we left off, we're going to be talking about Time Machine. Time Machine backup utility. The Time Machine helps you back up all of your files on the computer. When you're doing that, make sure you know what you're doing. Because Time Machine, what it does is that it saves a copy of every single one of your files. So when you back up your file, do not misuse that space you just used on your external hard drive using Time Machine. Let's just go to use Time Machine to back up and support your data from Apple support. https://support.apple.com en-us ht201250. Okay, so use Time Machine to back up and restore your drive. So today we're going to be talking about how to back up your drive. It automatically makes hourly backups for the past 24 hours. Remember, when you're using Time Machine, you always have to remember that you are using the correct external drive for your backups. For example, Apple sells a kind of backup of hard drive meant for backups, which is called the time capsule. As you can see, it also starts with time, since it is meant to be compatible with the Time Machine. So Airport Time Capsule. This is the 3 terabytes of storage for Airport Time Capsule, and it can, if you connect it to your Mac, you can actually back up all of your data before you boot your computer into Windows. So remember, you can either choose 2 terabytes or 1 terabyte based on how many gigabytes or terabytes is your computer, or how many backups you want for your computer. So this is how it looks. Okay, so there's a gigabit internet LAN port, so we can connect it to your internet. There's a USB port where this is important, where you connect it to your computer, and the power cord. These are very important just to know. This is MacBook Air with it, so if you have a MacBook Air, then you can just use it like that. But I recommend if you have an iMac, then use it, because laptops are meant for compatibility and road warriors. So I'm just recommending. And backing up your Time Machine, you open up the Time Machine symbol icon on your dock or in Finder, and then you turn it on. So when you turn it on, you have to confirm which external hard drive you are using. Make sure your drive is actually connected to your computer and has been turned on. Otherwise, it would not show up. Remember, Time Capsule is the best way of backing up your data using Time Machine, because it's most compatible and you actually trust it instead of using another hard drive from a different company. So after you back up your drive, then you go to you can either restore, if this is for very rare cases, that you can, when your Mac gets erased after downloading Windows, then you can just click restore. Well, you can't exactly click restore, but you can re-download a Mac and then restore from a Time Machine backup. How you do that is that when you turn on your Mac, after that chime turns on, like boom, then you click the option key, you click Recovery HD. When you do that, you are actually booting into a different version that has not been erased. So you can re-download everything and sign into your iCloud account, and then finally you can go back to what you were doing. That's why Time Machine is so important. Okay, next up. After after you back up your drive to Time Machine, what you do is that you go to Boot Camp Assistant. Remember, this is after you have the 16 gigabyte the 16 gigabyte USB port, should I say drive, and your ISO image from Microsoft. Remember, let me show you how to get the ISO image from Microsoft. You go to Microsoft, Windows 10, ISO image. Go there, and you go to Windows 10 ISO, Microsoft.com. You configure your editions, your language, and then it'll finally let you download the 64-bit and the 32-bit downloads. Remember, always do the 64-bit download because 32-bit is not compatible. Repeat, not compatible with your Mac. And one last thing, when you are updating your Mac, when you are backing up your Mac and downloading Windows, make sure you know that your Mac is made in 2013 or after 2013. If you did not do that, you cannot download Windows 10 at all. It will completely crash your computer, or even worse, probably. Remember, if you have anything before 2013, then you must get Windows 8 or even Windows 7. Warning. Okay, next step. Let's go to apple.com / let's go to apple.com first. Apple and Boot Camp. Let's go to the main website. See. Installing Windows 10 on your Mac. How to install it. Next one, open Boot Camp Assistant. Boot Camp Assistant is an app on your computer. Go to Finder, type in Boot Camp Assistant. You will find an icon with two drives on top of it, one with a slanted square. Click it, you open it, and then when you're done, click download and then format your Windows partition. This is very important. The amount of memory the amount of storage your Mac has is based on when you buy it. So, for example, 500 gigabytes, you can format how many gigabytes will be given to Windows. For example, you can give 200 gigabytes of your Mac's data to Windows in case when it's open. If it's not been used already. If it's been used, you have to give a smaller portion. Remember, do not give the bigger portion to Windows because then you'll basically lose your Mac. Like, seriously. Then you install Windows, you wait. It takes about 1 hour to install Windows. Remember, this is very important. Don't try turning it off during this 1 hour, and make sure your keyboard and mouse have new batteries or they're connected to your computer. When they restart your computer, click Option key after the chime is done, like bum. Click Option, and then you can switch, and then they give you 3 options: Recovery HD, Macintosh HD, and Windows. And then you can choose which one you want. When you do, make sure that every time when you want to switch, just restart the computer. When it does the bum, click Option, and then wait until all 3 icons come, and then click on the one you want. Remember, do not click on Recovery HD. It is only if you lost all your data. Okay, so this concludes our boot camp thing. For any more information, go to Apple's website. Bye here.